It's Friday night, and the protagonist collapses onto the couch, visibly exhausted from a long week. They place their dinner on the coffee table and grab the remote. The protagonist opens Netflix on the TV and begins scrolling through endless titles. Close-up shows the protagonist's unimpressed face as nothing catches their interest. They switch from Netflix to Hulu, continuing to scroll with growing frustration. After another 10 minutes, the protagonist sighs, realizing the show they want is on HBO Max. A memory bubble appears, the protagonist recalling canceling HBO Max 3 months ago to save money. They reluctantly pull out their phone and reactivate the HBO Max subscription, confirming the $16.99 charge. The protagonist finally hits play on the show, but looks down to see their food has gone cold. Annoyed, they poke at the cold dinner, feeling frustrated. Thought bubble appears, calculating the annual cost of the subscription $200 a year. A visual overlay shows a company testing ways to prevent password sharing, targeting the protagonist. The scene shifts to a visual representation of subscription creep, multiple subscription logos draining money from a bank account. The protagonist looks at their bank statement, confused about where their money is going. A calendar flips through months, showing recurring subscription charges accumulating. The protagonist wonders why they're living paycheck to paycheck despite a decent salary. Nick appears on screen, introducing himself as someone obsessed with small financial leaks. Nick gestures to a subscribe button and encourages viewers to like the video. Nick announces the topic: the library hack as an underrated wealth-building tool. A flashback shows a young child, the viewer, doing a school report at the library, looking bored. Nick reassures viewers that libraries have changed since childhood. Graphic appears showing the average American household with 4.5 streaming services. A digital counter tallies up the average monthly streaming bill, $77. Icons for Disney+, ESPN, Spotify, and Discovery Plus appear, stacking on top of each other. The total monthly bill jumps to $120 as more services are added. A calculator animation multiplies $120 by 12, revealing $1,440 per year. A time-lapse shows this annual cost accumulating over decades. Reaching $162,000, the protagonist sits in shock, imagining what $162,000 could mean for their future. A fantasy sequence shows the protagonist enjoying an early retirement, contrasted with watching TV reruns. A quick cut to the protagonist watching The Office for the 14th time, looking unenthused. Nick asks if these shows are really worth the cost of a decade of retirement. Nick shifts to discussing the psychology of nickel and dime spending. A visual metaphor shows a brain overwhelmed by thousands of movie options. The protagonist scrolls endlessly, growing more fatigued and indecisive. A split screen shows the protagonist giving up and watching a random YouTube video instead. Nick explains that infinite choice leads to devaluing entertainment. A montage shows the protagonist paying for multiple services but feeling unsatisfied. A thought bubble appears. Access equals happiness. Nick challenges the illusion of choice, showing how it drains financial freedom. The protagonist is shown surrounded by streaming logos, looking trapped. Nick introduces the library hack as an alternative. The protagonist imagines sitting in a dusty, outdated library, looking skeptical. Nick defends Shrek 2 as a masterpiece, adding a playful touch. Nick reveals that modern libraries are not what people expect. A visual shows tax money flowing from paychecks into a glowing, modern digital library. Nick introduces the big three library apps: Libby, Hoopla, and Kanopy. App icons for Libby, Hoopla, and Kanopy appear, shining brightly. The protagonist looks surprised and intrigued by the modern library options. A phone screen shows the protagonist downloading one of the library apps. The protagonist browses a vast digital catalog of movies, books, and music hall for free. A final shot shows the protagonist happily watching their chosen show, dinner still warm, with a satisfied smile. A visual overlay shows money staying in their bank account, symbolizing newfound financial control. A person is seen holding their phone, looking at the Audible app and noticing the $14.95 monthly charge. The person sighs and looks frustrated about the recurring Audible payment. A new app, Libby, is shown on the person's phone screen. The person connects their local library card to the Libby app. The Libby app interface displays a wide selection of ebooks and audiobooks. The person browses through best-selling titles and recognizes familiar book covers. A narrator's name and book title are highlighted, showing it's the same as Audible. The person smiles as they borrow an audiobook for free through Libby. A notification pops up. Borrowed. New York Times bestseller. The person listens to the audiobook on their phone looking pleased. The person switches to their Kindle and opens a borrowed ebook from Libby. A large $0 graphic appears, emphasizing the free cost. The Hoopla app is introduced on the phone screen. The person explores Hoopla's interface, seeing categories for movies, albums, and graphic novels. A counter shows 10 borrows left this month. The person instantly borrows a movie from Hoopla. They borrow an album and a graphic novel, all with a single tap. A montage of the person enjoying a movie, listening to music, and reading a graphic novel. Visual comparison. Hoopla as the Netflix of the library. A quick animation shows no waiting list for Hoopla borrows. Kanopy is introduced as a new streaming service. Title card. Kanopy, the cinephile's dream. The person scrolls through Kanopy's catalog, seeing Criterion Collection, A24, and Oscar-winning films. Movie posters for acclaimed films and documentaries fill the screen. A side-by-side comparison. Kanopy versus Netflix, with Kanopy showing actual movies and Netflix showing generic content. The person selects everything everywhere all at once on Kanopy. A price tag of $19.99 appears next to the film on Amazon Prime, contrasted with free on Kanopy. The person watches the movie for free looking satisfied. A library card is shown as the key to accessing Kanopy. A visual of the person reflecting on the value of their library card. New section begins, addressing the objections. Speech bubbles appear with common objections, but Nick. The library doesn't have Stranger Things. Another bubble, but Nick. I have to wait in a digital hold line for popular books. Another bubble, but Nick. It's inconvenient. The narrator appears, addressing the audience with a gentle, understanding expression. A graphic shows a billionaire selling convenience at a premium price. A visual metaphor. Stacks of cash being exchanged for a convenience box. A calendar appears, showing a 2-week wait for a popular book. The person browses through thousands of other available books at the library. A notification, "Your hold is ready," pops up, and the person reacts with excitement. A scientific diagram illustrates anticipatory joy and increased dopamine. The person enjoys reading the held book even more after the wait. A secret is revealed. Streaming exclusives come out on Blu-ray and DVD. The person visits the library and browses the DVD section. They pick up a box set of a popular HBO series, such as Succession. The person checks out the DVD box set at the library counter. At home, the person watches the series on their TV. A graphic shows the total cost. Just the price of gas for a 3-mile drive. The person returns the box set to the library, smiling. A final montage. The person enjoying books, audiobooks, movies, music, and TV series, all thanks to the library. A closing message. Your library card is the best entertainment subscription you already own. A person stands in front of a large water tank, watching water pour into it. The person eagerly checks the flow of water, representing income, into the tank. The person imagines getting a raise, a side hustle, and a promotion, all increasing the water flow. Close up on the water tank, now showing tiny pinprick holes along its surface. Water starts dripping out from each pinprick, representing small expenses. Logos or icons for Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, Spotify, Peloton, and iCloud appear next to the drips. The person looks frustrated as they notice the water level in the tank never rises. A visualization of 15 drips leaking out, keeping the tank from filling up. The person tries to pour more water in, but the leaks continue to drain it. Text appears. The library hack isn't just about saving $15 a month. The person examines the tank, realizing the need to plug the holes. A light bulb appears over the person's head, symbolizing a psychological shift. The person transforms from a consumer passively watching ads to a user actively using resources. A split screen shows consumer paying for services and being bombarded by ads. On the other side, user is utilizing resources, looking content and empowered. Text, a consumer pays for the right to be sold to. Text, a user utilizes the resources already available to them. Scene shifts to a checklist titled, the action plan. The person sits at a desk, ready to take action. Step 1. The subscription audit. The person opens their bank app on a phone. They scroll through a list of recurring payments. The person looks surprised to find several subscriptions they forgot about. They tap cancel on a service they don't use. Notification pops up. Subscription canceled. Step 2. The digital card. The person visits their local library's website on a laptop. They fill out a simple online form for a library card. Confirmation screen appears. Welcome to your library. The person smiles, holding up their new digital library card on their phone. Step 3. The app swap. The person downloads the Libby and Kanopy apps. They delete the Netflix app from their phone, hesitating for a moment. A calendar appears, marking 1 week without Netflix. The person relaxes on the couch, reading a book from Libby. They watch a documentary on Kanopy, looking satisfied. A thought bubble. Will my life get worse? A spoiler text appears. You'll probably just sleep better. Scene transitions to the big revelation beyond the screen. The person stands in awe as a modern library appears before them. Inside, shelves are filled not just with books, but with unusual items. A display case labeled Library of Things showcases various objects. The person borrows a power tool, looking relieved not to buy one. They check out a stack of board games, excited for game night. The person receives a state park pass from the library. They pick up museum tickets at the front desk. The person borrows a sewing machine for a home project. They use a thermal camera from the library to check their home's insulation. The person feels a sense of community and resourcefulness. A montage shows people of all ages using library resources together. Text, you're not just saving money, you're reclaiming community. Scene shifts to a motivational conclusion. The person looks at their bank statement, now with fewer deductions. They imagine putting saved money toward a college fund, a house, and an emergency fund. A visualization of freedom and peace of mind as the person relaxes. Text, you are being marketed to every single second of the day. The library stands as a peaceful, ad-free sanctuary. Text, the library is one of the last places where you are a citizen, not a customer. The person confidently walks into the library empowered. A call to action. Leave a comment below and share your coolest library find. The person waves goodbye to the audience, smiling. Final text, go plug those leaks.